Sorry. I was very excited for this video, so I couldn't wait. I just fell asleep at my desk for 48 hours in time to record this one. Don't worry. I have my security blanket here. Oh, Bucko. Bucko. My Buccaneer pillow. Bucko. Hey everybody, I'm Cortez and I'm a critic, and we are concluding the 2025 NFL Draft recap of the NFC South by talking about the boys of Tampa Bay, the four-time division champions. That's right, Panthers, Saints, and Falcons. Until you dethrone us, you're going to hear it from us. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are rejuvenating their team in hopes of making it a 5-time straight champion. And I wasn't a big fan of the first overall pick they made. Yeah. But I'm happy now. Let's get the elephant out of the room. I thought with all the player that was still there in Tampa during the draft, I thought they were going to get a corner, get a pass rusher. There was a lot of player thought. And then when they announced it, the Bucs had a good draft pick class last year. Bucky Irving, Graham Barton, everyone made, even the letter player, McMillan stepped up with Chris Godwin's down, which I kind of feel like that's like the litmus test of most Buck receivers. You got to step up when there was no one there. Kalijah Kancey showed definitely his worth. Yadiabe kind of had a setback in statistics, but his presence was still there. Zion McCullough, I know he wasn't a rookie, but he finally stepped up because I was kind of not so high on him. Jamel Dean, kind of feel Tyke Smith, the safety from Georgia, was better than even I thought the expert would give him credit for. I thought they kind of undersold him. They said he was an A+ guy, but they're like, dude, he's better than an A+ guy. He looked great. Injuries did plague the Bucs, so a lot of the rookies had to be forced into playing. And to make it sound, Baker Mayfield didn't regress. And we're once again going into another draft class of receivers and players that have to learn a whole new scheme, just like the veterans. Well, not completely. I mean, the guy was hired in-house, so it's not completely different. But once again, we're all going to learn together, and the chance that Baker Mayfield's success is going to lead to another offensive coordinator leaving us is, I mean, he's 2 for 2 back-to-back seasons. I mean, let's be real. Both of the coaches went on to coach teams that have big cats as their mascot. Panthers and Jaguars. Weird. So, with the 19th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver, The Ohio State. I wasn't a fan of the pick at the time. And I had basically a few months to think about my thoughts. But I wasn't a fan because I was more fearful that we probably miss an opportunity on caliber players. And I felt like our offense was already top 5 last year. Bucky was fantastic. Evans and Godwin were still there. Granted, both got injured and really put us on. McMillan stepped up. Kate Otten stepped up. Devin Culp, the rookie Washington tight end that we got, stepped up. Sean Tucker stepped up. Graham Barton proved that he was worth, getting the center focus. He helped with that defense. I mean, helped with that rushing attack that was dead last to top 10. So, yeah, I really thought pass rush was the way to go. I understand. I mean, Hassan Reddick, the Bucs got. So, I wasn't the biggest fan of Egbuka. Well, there goes my chance to interview him now that I just said I was not happy with his pick. Oh, boy. But, after being less fanatic and more logical, I researched and realized that this was probably the biggest potential steal we had in probably most drafts. not only do we get an insurance policy for the Buccaneers receiving future for probably the next 10 years, but if Mbuka is as great as he is at Ohio State, owning all the records, mind you, we could literally, and of course, Baker Mayfield's future, probably will still be in Tampa with the money and everything. The Buccaneers offense might still be a top 10 offense for the next 10 years. It will always be in the top 5, top 10. And with Bucky Irving and everything, it just feels that as much we want a defense, but maybe that expression is a good defense is a strong offense might be poetically said here for the Buccaneers. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of it at the time. I'll admit that. But now I'm almost filled with excitement because we basically are developing the greatest show on the Bay in Tampa Bay with our offense. So I think my biggest question for Tampa would just be the once again another coaching staff change again. So I kind of feel like we have to relearn a whole new scheme, a new strategy, new style with veteran players, second-year players, and now a brand new rookie coming in. And he's not the only new toy we got that I am surprisingly very excited about. But yeah, I'm very happy for Mbuka now. But when they announced it, like during that whole first day, I was like, why? And now I have to apologize. I am sorry, Mbuka. But anyway, they addressed the defense heavily after that. And in the second round, with the 53rd overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Benjamin Morrison, corner, Notre Dame. Now, this gentleman was also put up there with other defensive backs that were considered, these guys were probably first-round picks, but injuries probably did drop their stocks just slightly out of the first round. If you want to see just humanity of opportunity and pride and thankfulness, you got to watch Benjamin's call video. This guy was so emotional that it restores your faith in the characters of mankind a little bit. It kind of makes you realize that this young man has an opportunity to make something. Not to mention the history that his dad has a connection to Todd Bowles professionally, so that's a very cute story there and tidbit. But seeing how Benjamin is so thankful and that he was like, Benjamin had like a superhero moment where it's like, I'm not going to let you down. You're not going to regret this. This is like Captain America, Superman type of motto, like, I'm not going to let you down. Thank you. And then when he got the phone, he kept saying, Tampa! Oh, God. That experience is it's special. It's one of the things that no matter what your future holds, that can never be taken away from you. And I believe that, like a lot of defensive players going to a defensive head coach, especially one that has played the position and coached the position individually as part of a coaching staff, I can't help but feel like Morris is going to go into a coaching department and a head coach that's like, dude, I've been in your shoes. I've been in your slot. I've been in your spot. I've seen. Not to mention, Todd Bowles is a defensive winning coordinator. He won a Super Bowl with the defense, led by young players like Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, and Antoine Winfield Jr., a rookie, a second round pick rookie. So I think this was a good solid pick, and I think the Bucs probably got a steal because the notion of he was injured, so that's what probably dropped the stocks, but Sportsman has come a long way. Now, he's currently being viewed as a backup to Jamel Dean, and people in Tampa can tell you that Jamel Dean is not the most smiled by fans lately. He kind of had like a little bit of a letdown last year. Some of his injury and some of it's just play, so I'm not saying that Jamel Dean's job is in jeopardy. I'm just saying that Morrison doesn't have to be thrust into the starting lineup right away. And if Jamel Dean regains his focus again, then we got, more weapons for pleasure here when it comes to our defensive side. And the Bucs didn't stop there, because in the third round, With the 84th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Jacob Parrish, corner, Kansas State. So they doubled down on it, and I feel Morris has more of a ball hawk. And Todd Bowles openly said in interviews that he wanted ball hawks. Not so much defenders and tackle, but he wanted ball. He wants DBs to make turnovers. And Morris and Jacob both come in as ball hawks, aggressive, physical. These are the guys that were more not just to squat the ball away, but they want to take the ball. Even if you catch it, they want to strip it from you. And I think that's what they do. I think Morris is more of an outside corner, while Parrish might be more of a slot inside corner in between the lines, or in between the numbers. So I would say that is probably where they'll have Jacob in this one. But moving forward to the Tampa, I feel like Zion proved himself worthy. Tyke is being moved potentially to safety or nickelback. I feel like last year the Buccaneers had 11 DBs on the roster, on the 53-man roster last year. And there's some players that like Bryce Hall, he got hurt very early in the season and didn't play. If he's healthy, I think he's another valuable asset. And the Buccaneers secondary went through a lot of inconsistencies because if the Bucs pass rush wasn't there, the secondary got picked apart. Just look at the Washington playoff game. That Buccaneers secondary was picked apart. And even though the Buccaneers offense was probably the biggest success story for the Bucs this last season, if the Buccaneers defense couldn't stop the offense and the Buccaneers offense haven't, God forbid, stalled. There was a part where the Bucs had no receivers. Godwin and Everett both out. They went against the Niners, the Ravens, the Chiefs. So it's like, we don't even have a full stack. And we still won 10 games. Take what you want to take about that. So I feel like the Buccaneers are preparing for health, preparing for the future beyond this season, and looking for new styles. They want to see new technique players in this team and probably be more open to defensive schemes than before. So we addressed making the offense greater. We addressed double down on DBs, corners, to cover receivers that we're going to face in the NFC South and in the NFC in general. So let's do what we like to do best in Tampa, sack quarterbacks. And in the 4th round, with the 121st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected David Walker, edge, Central Arkansas. Now, there's a lot of good local people in Tampa. The Pewter Report, Cannon Podcast. I think I said everyone. Mr. Buccaneer Nation. I think I said them all. But Chat Sports, Buccaneers. Okay, I think I covered them all. And they have more research because, one, they focus only on Tampa. Me, I focus on the entire NFL ecosystem. Walker was a guy that they were talking about it as if he was potentially being viewed as like a Khalil Mack. Small school guy, big potential, could be a disruptor, could be a massive steal. And when he got selected, all I said to myself was, I gotta check my notes. I don't remember hearing this guy. And then I looked up his stats. Now, granted, Central Arkansas, we all know the big thing, because I'll admit it, I'm not a hypocrite as much. Level of competition definitely comes to mind when you play at Central Arkansas versus playing at Arkansas. I get it. I understand that. Walker's physique, because right here, the thing about David Walker is that he's being viewed as a pass rusher with Yahya Anthony on the weak side. And Anthony Nelson has proven himself valuable as a rotational player at times. And Yahya is still our golden boy. Hassan Reddick is taking the strong side for a 1-year deal. We're trying to see if he can get back to his, valuable career was in Philadelphia before the Jets ruined him. And then also we got Chris Braswell from last year's draft from Alabama that we want to see him develop. So in a weird way, we have a lot of potential, and maybe that's intentional. Davis may be designed for the future. But how many times have we seen Yahya was kind of a nobody? I think probably the same round as Walker, but to double check that actually, Yahya was a 3rd round pick. My apologies, Yahya. I didn't mean to insult you like that. But Yahya was, not a top tier pick by most standards, but he proved himself worthy to the point he gets recognized in public circles. Maybe David Walker is one of those unsung heroes. And Tampa to its credit, has had more success, surprisingly, with Division II, Division III school players becoming starters and major Pro Bowl impactors on this team. So I'm going to say that I trust the Buccaneers scouting department that they picked this guy out because they knew his potential and that he's a diamond in the rough. But also, like I said, a lot of the local Buccaneer channels on YouTube were singing this guy's praise if he was a recognizable name at a top 10 school. So I'm going to say he's excited, he's big, he's intangibles, and I'm kind of glad he's not being thrust in to save the day. But I wanted to make some splashes. And then we go to the 5th round with the 157th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Elijah Roberts, edge, SMU. Now, Roberts played at the University of Miami, a Hurricane. So he's still ACC. SMU had a great season last year, went to the playoffs. I don't care if you don't think they deserve it. That's not the point. They were there. Shut up. Moving on. And I feel like Roberts was a major impact on the SMU defense, more so than the young offensive power of SMU Mustangs. He played at a bigger school, and sometimes when players go to smaller schools, I view it more as playing time than talent. He had the talent to go to Miami and to play at Miami. Now, I don't know exact details on why he went to SMU, but I didn't hear anything about a disciplinary reason. But he thrived in SMU. He was a captain on the defense. So, and this is a guy that knows high-level football. And this is another player that I feel like is going to take advantage of Todd Bowles. I think a lot of players that play for Todd Bowles on defense are very happy. I mean, if you want to say, watch the video of when Sanders, Shedeur Sanders' older brother, gets picked up by Tampa, who at time of this recording, he is still thriving at camp. And, Dion singing Todd Bowles' praise. He's a good coach, defensive guy. And that's a DB to another DB. So they both won championship in the professional level. One as a coach, one as a player. So they definitely know what it's like. So when you have that type of respect from athletes and coaches of all levels saying that you're going to a coach that knows defense left and right, that should make the players excited. And I saw Roberts' call video. This guy felt like he wanted to go to practice that day. Like he wanted to be like, I'll be there in 2 hours. I'll go practice. And I want that. I want that type of eagerness to play. And Vita and Chancey, they led the team in sacks, and they were the 3 down lineman people in the 3-4 defense. And Roberts is currently being viewed as the left side behind Logan Hall, who some people say he might be on his way out because of consistency. And Logan was another first-round pick. Logan had some success later in the season, but Robert in rotation, maybe they could do it. Plus injuries, too. Bucs played a lot of defensive injuries that kind of hurted their flow. And then they did nothing. They did nothing in the 6th round. And then the 7th round, they concluded their wonderful draft class. With the 235th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Tez Johnson, wide receiver, Oregon. Now, Tez is, sadly the 5'10", barely 200-pound wide receiver. But his speed was probably the biggest reason why the Bucs wanted. They saw what Bucky can do with a small frame and his speed. And I can't help but feel like Tez Johnson, let's be real, I still remember the Scotty Miller days of Tampa. How he was a small guy from, he's a much smaller school than Oregon. But he was a small guy, late round pick, and what he was best for, speed. And I've heard reports in camp that Tez is, he's singing Baker's praises. The receiving coaches are thrilled with Tez. Now Tez is not the returner, or at least he's not technically is the returner. He's currently viewed as the 4th member of the punt return committee. Trey Palmer is considered the guy right now. But I'm telling you right now, I think Tez Johnson was brought in to be that their version of Tyreek Hill. Small guy with speed, explosive, grabs a 2-yard screen pass and takes it 6 yards. Him and Bucky catching and breaking ankles on the space. I'm telling you right now, Tez Johnson will probably be the returner by week 1. If not, definitely by week 5, for whatever reason. I think Tez Johnson is going to be their speed, demon, gadget play. I wouldn't be surprised there's an offensive scheme where you have Bucky and Tez in the backfield, because both of them are so good at catching the ball in space and their athleticism. Tez, to me, is a wild card that has a little more shine than most diamonds. I think Tez Johnson could be the big surprise for the Buccaneers, because I believe he was picked up mainly for... I mean, they saw what Bucky did, and they were just like, well, Tez was just as successful last year with Oregon, so yeah. So I don't think Tez is the big... It could be a potential big steal for the Bucs, especially if we believe he can be utilized the way they did. They got plenty of toys. So I think Taz will make his mark on special team as a returner. And that is the Buccaneers draft class. Like I said, a simple draft class, nothing too crazy. And the grade I give the Buccaneers, I still think the Buccaneers are contender if they stay healthy. The offense was definitely championship worthy, but the defense just couldn't even force punts. And I think a lot of it was due to injuries, and a lot of it was due for just the players that stepped up didn't step up as well they wanted to, so the backups couldn't do the next man up they wanted to do. For Levante David to come back again, because I honestly thought he was gone, even though I was begging he would. Honestly, I would have been like, if he called it a career, I'd been like, I understand. I think every Buccaneer fan probably would have been like, understand. But he's coming back. And I feel like the only reason he's coming back is because he basically was given, like, either he made an ultimatum or Todd Bowles gave him a promise that we're going to rebuild this defense and we need you to lead it, please. At least one more time. You know? And I think that's why I think the Buccaneers are contender. If the Buccaneers defense can just get a little bit better, you know, improve the secondary, you know, go from 28th to 24th, you know, go get the sacks up, you know, force turnovers finally. Stop relying on the Buccaneer offense who always bails out with 30 points to make the offenses they're going against one-dimensional. I think the Bucs will be contenders. Honestly, the Buccaneers can probably win more games this year than last year. And like I said, they beat the Chargers that were a much superior defensive team on the road last year in Los Angeles. So it just feels like the Bucs are capable. It's just they got to get out their own way. And once again, we're at the part of this year where there's another middle part of the season where there's a bunch against the big dogs. And the only hope is that this year they won't have, you know, Evans and Godwin out for that time at the worst possible time. So I trust Baker to take us moving forward. I think it's proven with two different corners that he is not a one fluke wonder, but he'll always have that chip. And honestly, keep putting that chip on his shoulder because then he wants to prove it. So, and as for the player I'm most excited about, I'm excited for Tez Johnson, guys. I'm sorry. I'm really excited for Tez. Because I really believe his raw athleticism is his big ticket in. He's being praised by the coaches, praised by the media, praised by the players. And yes, he's a 7th round pick, and I think a lot has to do because he's 5'10 and da-da-da-da-da-da. But I just feel like he's going to make plays. If he ends the season with like 600 yards and 5 touchdowns, and if he gets 2 return touchdown, punt or kickoff, he gets 2 this season, he has already cemented to me as one of my favorite Buccaneers already, as a rookie. And I see his interviews. This guy is humble. This guy eager. This guy just feels like he wants to run, like he wants to sprint every time he has a question. Like he really wants to get there and work. So to me, Tez Johnson is my most excited player because I just feel like the potential is so high. And that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have one division left. It's the South. The AFC South. And we're going to start by going where it all began. So to start the AFC South, the 2025 draft, we'll be talking about the Tennessee Titans, as they have officially made the number 1 pick, Cam Ward, feel at home, with Warren Moon himself not surrendering, but anointing him to wear number 1 as a jersey number. So No pressure, but that jersey probably weighs as ton as an Iron Crown. So that's where we'll start with the AFC South. We will on the verge of concluding this whole journey together. Until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.